Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to have a look at the Be-6, but before we do that, I have the winners of the giveaway from the last video. Now, please don't worry if you didn't win, because one, I'll be doing one of these every update if I can afford it, and also, I've read through every single one of the vehicles you suggested, and I've put them all on a fast track list, so they will be the vehicles that you'll be seeing on this channel soonest in the future. So stick around for that. If you've suggested anything, it will be coming up very soon, and from the comments I got, I think I have a pretty good idea of what people would like to see. So before any further ado, the winner of 5,000 shiny birds is, I hope I pronounce your name right, Timis Daniel. So thank you very much. And I did say that if I could, I'd give away some more prizes, and from reading all of your comments and everything, it's made me feel like, I can't just give away one, because there were so many great comments, so many suggestions, and I wanted to give something to everyone, but I can't do that. So the winner of 2,500 golden eagles is Gregory Engber, and the final prize of 1,000 golden eagles goes to Zach, or Zach, I'm not sure. But either way, I really hope you enjoy. So what I need you guys to do is reply to your original comment with your in-game username, and I will have the golden eagle sent to you within hopefully about 3 or 4 days. I don't have any money in my account at the moment, but it's actually my birthday today. Rather, it has been for 2 hours, so I should be asleep, but priorities. I certainly have them in the right place. So yeah, I should have that done very soon, and I'll send them over to you, and I really hope you enjoy. When you do get them, I would suggest waiting until the sale at the end of October, because everything is generally on half price, and you could put them to better use there. So yes, I really hope you enjoy your prizes. It was brilliant reading through all of your comments, and I really wish that I had the money to give you all something, but I don't quite have that. So the best I can do is fast track all of your suggestions to show up on the channel very, very soon. So, on to the focus of this video, the Be-6 float plane. Now, this is not a plane I'd recommend you to buy. After thinking about it for quite a bit, I think it's actually the worst gift vehicle they've introduced, at least in its current state. Now, this plane is a bit devious to a lot of people, and that's because on the surface, it looks like it's a fun, decent plane. It looks gorgeous, its defensive armament on the surface looks fantastic, and it has a very good bomb load, at least for what it is. You can take out 2 bases in a single run. But the downside to this plane is that it's incredibly fragile, and that comes down to it being very, very slow. I have my crew vitality and my gunners maxed out, but with a single hit almost every time I was getting pilot sniped. And so imagine a new player coming to this game and they see a cool looking flying boat. It looks beginner friendly, it's a bomber, there's not a lot of skill used in it if you want to just get a few points for bombing a base. But if you play this plane with 0 crew vitality, you're not going to survive a single hit. This plane is just too slow to really get anywhere on the battlefield quick, or have enough time to shoot a target down. With the guns are good, the guns are decent, but they take a lot of time to aim, and I don't think they work as well on this plane than they would on the TU4 or the IL-28. And that's because I think on the TU4 the sheer volume of fire and the ability you have of taking a decent amount of hits is going to get you those kills. But in this plane, as soon as you start taking damage, I don't think I survived like a burst of fire longer than a second with this plane before my wing fell off or my pilot got knocked out, and you do not have that time on target to range the guns in and take a plane out. But after I started playing the plane a little bit, I was trading every game, so I'd kill a base, kill a couple, and take out at least one plane that shot me down. So the game I have for you today in that regard isn't very good, but it's a general experience that you're going to have playing this plane, and it's, I like to think, it's one of the better games that I had. Trust me, I had some very, very poor runs in this plane, and I think a lot of it is down to the plane itself. Right, let's get into the match I have for you today, and it's on Krimsk. I managed to use the cloud cover to get my way across most of the map towards the two bases around the airfield on the enemy side. And the way I had the most success with this plane playing it is I had to skulk around the edge of the map very, very tightly to avoid fighters. Or even, if you've got the time and the patience, stick a film on your other screen and spawn in about 10 minutes late. It seems like a bit of a weird tactic, but generally I find that you miss those one or two fighters that rush down early to get the bombers and attackers trying to get the bases early off. There might be less targets to take out, but it's still not a terrible tactic, I think. It's something that I use if I'm using an aircraft that does struggle in that initial rush with the fighters. Now, you do get a decent amount of RP with this plane if you are bombing things like bases, as you saw there, 960, and I'm getting 2 of those here. So that's just under 2000 RP just from pressing the spacebar 4 times, which you can't really complain about, but there are better options, I think, than this plane, especially because not every game I even managed to get as far as these bases, just because I'd get one-shot by fighters, attackers, anything. This plane just isn't fast enough. As you can see right here, I'm flying over the enemy airfield at about 3,000 kilometers in clouds, and I'm getting hit just because this plane is so slow. That's already knocked out my engines for the whole game. I'm gonna need to go back to base pretty quick. Now, that is partly down to the airfield being ridiculous, but it is also down to this plane's very, very slow nature. So, this thing cruises at about, I think, 280, just about, and it's just not fast enough. You don't expect to get away from anything anyway, but all an enemy plane needs is a second on target, and it's going to cut right through your pilot, or it's going to cut your wing right off. This plane isn't really maneuverable at all, really. I think the Yer is a very, very surprisingly maneuverable aircraft, and I prefer the Yer a lot to this plane, because you can have a few turns, you can bleed fighters' energy, and you can snipe them with a 20mm. But this thing, you don't have that chance, because if you take a single hit anywhere with a 50 or a 20, it's going to tear your plane apart. And the only real chance you have with this plane to stay alive is to snipe a fighter coming in. Now, I'm not very good with these guns, I'll openly admit that. I don't play the Tu-4 or the IL-28 very much, so I don't have much experience with them. But you're going to want to snipe planes with this. Otherwise, if you let them get too close, you're just going to die. You're going to fall apart easily. So I see an F6F down there, and I have a little spray at him so he knows I'm here, and I'm hoping that he tries to tail me back, because I'm a bit above him, which I think is the best way to engage planes like this. So I'm just going to dip beneath the clouds to see if he's following me, because I want to get a few kills to see how the killing power of this plane is. And he is coming back for me. So I'm going to sit just below the cloud layer and wait for him to get closer. And I think the best way to get a plane to engage you, if you can set that up, is get the plane to engage from beneath you. Because if they're shooting from above, they have a higher chance of knocking the pilot out even quicker. And granted, you do have 2 guns firing at them instead of 1. I think it's better to play it safe and try and stay alive. So I'm just slowly throttling down a little bit to get him to come to me, but he's trying to hang to my side and come in at my blind spot, which doesn't really work too well. As you can see, my terrible aim here, really, really showing off. Have a little bit of a spark, but I think I've just got the lead now, and he's going to present himself very, very nicely right there, and we get the pilot. If you are engaging a plane like this, you are going to want to go in very aggressively. You don't want to do that. All you're doing, if you engage me like that guy did, is bleed your energy and give me a difficult but easy target in the long run once I get the range, and I'm pretty sure that anyone playing this plane would as well. So you've got to be very, very careful. So in my broken state, I'm thinking, well, let's try and get another kill. So cutting my throttle, because this thing does rip quite easily. The pontoons fall off and it makes landing impossible because your wings just rip apart. So I'm hoping to catch up to this Mustang and take him by surprise, which seems like a very funny statement in a aircraft such as this, but, well, I like doing silly things sometimes. So, he's in a very slight climb, but he is actually going to get away from me and get into the clouds. I'm not going to be able to hit him because this plane is just too slow. You know, it's not really a plane I'd say, you know, be aggressive with like this, but you can't even do something like this. You know, another aircraft like the Tu-2 or the Peshka, the Yer, you know, those are all planes that work as bombers. Like, they work defensively and aggressively, if you know what you're doing. But a plane like this, you can't do that. You don't have the speed to jump up on people like this, you don't have the maneuverability to bleed speed and get a nice easy target. And you don't have that slight durability that most of the other bombers have. There's just nothing really going for this plane. I wanted to include some clips before of me just instantly dying over and over, because that's what the gameplay of this aircraft is like. You know, a game like this where I get like a few kills and some bases is a rarity. You know, I played, I think, about 20 games before I had this one, and I like to think that I'm a decent bomber player, having played, well, all of them. And this is one that I really struggle with. I can't make it work. And maybe that's just me, maybe I can't aim the guns, and if you can aim the guns, this is going to be great. But if a player knows what he's doing, he's just going to take you out every time. You know, this aircraft does have quite substantial blind spots, and even in those blind spots, any small measure of slight fire is going to just knock your plane out. So the depressing thing is that any plane engaging this aircraft is just too quick, and the guns are so precise that they don't need to bother with the blind spot, because they can just shoot you from like 1 kilometer, 1.2 kilometers out and shred your pilot instantly. And I think this aircraft could probably, I'd even say, could sit at a battle rating of about 4.3, because the guns only really work if what you're shooting at is slow. On an aircraft like this, if something's coming in too quick, you have so little time to get your guns on target and ranged in before your pilot's knocked out. And where people think that, oh well, this is going to be the Tu-2 of low tier, Tu-4, excuse me, it's not. The Tu-4 can at least take damage, you know, from the wings, the fuselage. There's loads of space between the tail gunner and the pilot, and in this plane there isn't. There's no armour throughout the entire plane apart from a few bits of armour behind the pilots, but that doesn't matter. You know, there's so little space that you're just going to get taken out. So my engines are dead here, and I'm trying to make an emergency landing. And one good thing about float planes is that you can pretty much hit the runway at any speed you want, and your fuselage is going to soak up the damage. So I'm just going to plonk myself down here very quick and lose all of that speed and just finish off at the end of the runway quite nicely. You know, the thing with this plane is it has speed in the worst places. If you're trying to get down low, if you're trying to land, it doesn't really slow down as quick as you'd like. And I'm really struggling to find good things about this aircraft, especially because it's a gift vehicle. It's a premium. It's something that you would have to buy, and I can't recommend this aircraft. I really can't at all. I think you should stay well clear of it, and it kind of annoys me because I like trying vehicles that aren't very good and finding out, you know, how to use them most effectively. But this isn't really a vehicle you can make work, because you can't put it into a situation where you're constantly going to have success, or at least the opportunity of success if you're a good player. It just doesn't work with an aircraft like this. But anyway, we have a Mustang screeching in. I fire at range, which I think is the best way forward, and I do take out his elevator. You can see me struggling to hit him again here because I'm awful with the guns, but he falls right in, and that's another kill. The guns are commendable in that sense, I suppose. They are very powerful, and all it takes is 1 or 2 on target at a good angle if they don't spark, and the plane's gonna fall apart. But again, if you come up against a player that knows what he's doing, it doesn't matter. They're gonna hide in your blind spot, and they're gonna shred your pilot, or they're gonna shoot you from long range again and kill your pilot. This was quite a rarity. So the last aircraft is the Corsair here. And I'm just trying to get him in the best position to shoot him. But this is a good player. He knows what he's doing and he knows how to engage a plane like this. And this is a really good example of how you should do it. So what the Corsair's doing is he's hanging back at a 4 o'clock angle or a 7 o'clock angle to my aircraft. That way he can sneak in underneath my airframe and between the rear gunner and the top gunner. And what I'm trying to do is make it so he can't engage me like that, and I'm trying to keep my back to him the entire time. But I think the flaw of this vehicle is that I can't force him to engage me in a situation that benefits me. If he wants to engage me in my blind spot, he will. I can't make him shoot me where I have the advantage, and that's why I don't think this aircraft is good. Because you can't get into that situation where you can give yourself the advantage, and I think a lot of planes you can definitely do that. So I'm just trying to snipe him off here, but I'm not really good enough with the guns to get a hit. And I think any new player that thinks this is going to be a good option for them is going to struggle as well. It's because it's not an easy gun to aim with. So I just try and turn here because he's got too close. Try and get some guns on target, but there we go. Wing falls off, less than a second of burst, and I'm dead. And I think this does just highlight what the vehicle's like playing it. You're going to die very, very quick almost every single time. And yeah, I got about, on a loss, mind you, and I'm not researching any other vehicles, so I do have a bit of an inhibitor there. I got about 6,500 RP for that match. And for a premium vehicle, that's not very good. On a loss, you're probably going to make about 4,000 RP. And for an aircraft like that, it's just, I can't recommend it. There are so many better options. There's some great fighters, some great bombers in Tier 4 that you can talisman. Like, I've got a talisman on the TU2. I can't remember the designation exactly, but it's the last TU2 with 20mm. I think that's a fantastic aircraft. And I'd much rather play 6.3 and have a talisman on that aircraft than play the Be-6, because it's not something I can reliably do well in, and I like vehicles that I can reliably do well in. And I like to make a review like this for like the average player, someone who wants to grind their way up the Russian tree and not have too much of a problem. But honestly, this just is not a plane that I can recommend for an experienced player or a new one. Sure, the guns are great if you hit them, but you don't have that grace period of allowing to get the guns on target. If you're really, really good with the guns, I'd say, sure, buy it, you'll have some fun. But if you want a plane that looks easy and you can grind with, this isn't the plane for you. It's not the most expensive gift vehicle in the game, but it's not really worth it at its current price. It needs a reduction in BR, or I don't want to adjust historical factors, so I can't suggest any improvements to the aircraft itself, but it just doesn't function at 5.3. The aircraft you're facing are so quick that they don't need long to shoot you. The guns are all very good. 50 cals will chew through the entire plane, knock wings off, kill pilots, and it doesn't have that survivability that a bomber needs. And it does, I guess, from the surface make up for it for its guns, but it's just not easy to use. I like to think I'm experienced with all bombers, all gun types, but I can't make these guns work that effectively. And I'm sure that some of you watching probably can. You have a great time with it. But what I'm saying is, if any player has any idea about how to engage you in a safe way, there's nothing you can do. You're not maneuverable enough, you're not quick enough to take a player out who knows how to engage you. And if a player's going up against a B-17 or a TU4, there are so few blind spots that you can almost always get a lot of shots on, and those are tanky aircraft. They can take a lot of hits and dish them out while they're taking them, so you can at least take someone out with you. But this plane is so fragile. I mean, granted it is a float plane, it's a medium bomber, and I shouldn't expect it to be a tank, but it's not really usable. Like aircraft like the Yer or the TU2, they at least take some fire to take out. This doesn't. And for a vehicle that you need to spend money on, it's not fun to play. I did not have fun playing this aircraft, and I have fun playing bombers. I like getting cheeky kills like snipes. I like turn fighting with planes, just having fun with them. But I can't with this plane, and that's why I can't recommend it to you guys. It's not that great for grinding, and it's not great for just having a chill time with a bomber. It's not something that I think you should buy. If it does have a drop in BR to 4.7, 4.3, maybe consider picking it up, because at least you're going to be fighting things you can shoot before they hit you. But at the moment, you're going to get bullied quite a lot. And for a vehicle that costs money, I don't think that this is the plane for you. But if you do like the guns, you like float planes, if you think you're going to have fun with it, I don't want to put anyone off if they really, really want it. But it depends what you want it for. I mean, this isn't going to be a good aircraft to grind with. I don't think it's not reliable enough. I mean, I struggle to get to bases sometimes. I rarely struggle to get to bases in any bomber. There's routes to take. If you're quick, you can go around the sides of the map. If you're hefty, you can climb a bit and get that extra ability to shoot planes that are coming up to you because they're slow. You can't do that in this plane. It doesn't climb. It's too slow to really get around the sneaky parts of the map. You don't really have any advantages in how to engage targets you want to take out. You can't really do anything well with it. It's luck if you get a kill. It's luck if you get to a base and don't die. I mean, it might be a bit better if you're more experienced with the guns, but I think my experience with them is relative to the general player, and this is what I want this to be geared towards. And I think in that regard, it's not a good plane. It's not a good plane at all. And I'm going to have to be very negative this time and rate it a 3 out of 10. My lowest rating. So far, at least. There are certainly vehicles that are worse than this one. So thank you very, very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. And I wanted to say thank you all so much for all of your comments. And I've got over 1,000 subscribers, which is ridiculous. I thought I'd maybe get this like late next year or something. It's crazy how quickly this has grown. So you do have my thanks, all of you, for your comments, your feedback. It's all been really, really helpful. And I really hope you keep leaving those comments, because it gives me a drive to make content. Like, I know it sounds silly, but it's my birthday today. I should be doing something to celebrate or whatever. I should be getting some sleep. I can wake up tomorrow and have a me day. But I just want to make videos, because it like looking at the end result and seeing people appreciate what I make is amazing. And I really, really love that feeling. And I'm really, really glad I started YouTube, and I'm glad all of you watch, and I really hope you enjoy. So, thank you very, very much for watching. The next video will probably be on the Waffenträger, because it's been requested quite a bit. So stay tuned, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.